welcome to the Pathfinder Outdoor Kitchen. I'm Matt Mercer, instructor for the Pathfinder School and the founder of the Black Hat Bushcraft channel right here on YouTube. And this afternoon, my daughter and I have come down to our local lake to do a little fishing. And of course, if we're gonna be fishing, we'll work up an appetite. And so that means I need to cook up a delicious lunch. And if I'm cooking up lunch here on the water side, it might as well be a subscriber submitted recipe so that somebody, one of you guys out there, can receive some free Pathfinder outdoor cooking gear from Reliance Outfitters. So I'm excited about today's show. Hopefully we can show you guys some fishing clips along the way. Definitely some delicious camp cooking here on the side of this lake. And it's gonna be a fun episode. So I hope you guys will stick with me. Let's get started. All right guys, just before we get started, I wanted to do just a quick little disclaimer. I'm gonna spell a word and I want you to pronounce it. The word is P-A-S-T-A-L-A-Y-A. Say it out loud. Pastalaya? Nope, Pastalaya. I finally got it. When I read the name of this recipe, it just naturally rolled off my tongue. It's Pastalaya. And then I thought about it, jambalaya, Pastalaya. So if you hear me say Pastalaya in the video, just ignore it or replace it with Pastalaya, like jambalaya, and give me a little slack, all right? Never heard of Pastalaya before. All right, let's get back to it. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about today's special recipe. And this one is called Pastalaya. And this is not a recipe that I'm familiar with, but I will say that all of the ingredients that are on the list are things that I like and enjoy. And I believe that they will come together to make a very rich and hearty recipe today. So I'm looking forward to trying this. And our winner for today's episode is Corey Arnold. Congratulations, Corey. And thank you for your submission of Pastalaya. I'm excited to try your recipe. Don't forget guys, if you have a great recipe that you enjoy using when you're out in the great outdoors, whether you're camping or just spending time on the water's edge, go ahead and submit those recipes over to me to that email address at the bottom of your screen, and that'll get your name entered into our data bank of recipes that I pull from each time I come out to make an episode of the show. And that way, just like Corey, you might receive some free Pathfinder cooking gear from Reliance Outfitters. So don't wait, send over those recipes, and once again, congratulations, Corey. All right, so just before we start cooking today, I did want to introduce you guys to a brand new Pathfinder product, and this is the 10-inch carbon steel Pathfinder skillet. I'm really excited to be using this today on the show. And this is a long-awaited piece of equipment. For those of you that were familiar with the 8-inch carbon steel skillet that was released by Reliance Outfitters last year, that was a phenomenal hit because it was such a great cooking little skillet. And honestly, I have one that sits on my stovetop all the time, and it's almost a daily user when it comes time to cook breakfast. I just love cooking up eggs in that thing. It is a case hardened skillet, which means it doesn't have any type of coating in it, and it doesn't require any seasoning, no pre-seasoning, any of that stuff. You can abuse this thing and it still will maintain its non-stick properties because it's case hardened. So it's, you know, just like your favorite cast iron skillet has that nice seasoning on it, and you have to be very careful with that. You can't scrape it with metal utensils. You got to always reapply seasoning, things like that. This pan cooks like that, but it doesn't require all that effort, and it doesn't require all that extra attention or care that, say, that cast iron does. I just love these skillets. Again, they're just carefree. You just use them. They cook great, enjoy it, but you don't have to take such good care of it. When we got to 8-inch skillets, they did not come with lids, and a lot of people wanted to buy lids for them. And so when Reliance Outfitters ordered these 10-inch skillets, they also got in production a stainless steel lid, which is custom fit to the skillets. Perfect match there. And these will be an optional accessory. So if you don't want one, you don't have to buy it with the kit. You don't have to pay for it. You can order just the skillet itself. Many people don't use lids, but if you do want the lid, it's available as an add-on. Also, a handmade 1000D nylon Cordura stuff sack is available for this as well. This is earth brown, my favorite color for my gear, with 550 paracord cinch here. It's custom fit to the skillet and it's handmade in the US by Tack Survival. And just an excellent little kit here. You could pack all kinds of plates and utensils, ingredients in this skillet, put the lid on it, and then just put this thing down in the stuff sack, and everything you need to cook is just right there, ready for you. Keeps that greasy or smutty skillet after you've cooked on an open fire off of the rest of your gear, and keeps it ready to go and ready to cook. So this new 10-inch skillet, I believe, is going to be a huge hit with Reliance Outfitters. It is on pre-sale right now. These should arrive mid-August or be ready to ship out by mid-August. And so if you're interested in getting one, I would not wait on it. Just my personal advice, because again, these are on pre-sale, and I would imagine, like the 8-inch version that sold out in the beginning, I imagine these will too, because they're long awaited. It's just a perfect size for base camp or for your family's stove at home. This will be a big hit. So let's put it to use today. Let's test it out. I talk about how great it is, but let's test it and see just how great this thing really does cook, making this pastalaya today. All right, so our first ingredient today is Polish kielbasa. We need to slice this up, and we're gonna just throw this in the skillet here. And hopefully this will give us a little bit of grease to work with in our pan. I'm not making a huge serving of this stuff today, so I'm going to use about half of this sausage. So once again, I have my PKS Campmaster Kephart. Love this knife. It's my perfect kitchen prep knife. I'm just going to slice this sausage up in some little medallions, to use a fancier term. You guys know how fancy I am, right? What I love about this knife for camp kitchen work is it's a 3/32 thick stock, which is a thinner blade, and it just makes it so sharp and slicey for these tasks, cutting up meat and veggies and things like that. We're just going to take this sausage here, throw it in our skillet, put the top back on. Now we need to prep our chicken breast. Now, you guys know what the best part of the smoked sausage is, right? It's pre-cooked, so you can always have a sample. So our second ingredient is just a few pieces of chicken tenderloin, and I've gone ahead and kind of cleaned these up a little bit. So we're just going to slice those up into some little chunks, and we're going to throw those in the skillet with the sausage. We're going to spice them up, and we're going to fry that stuff up. You're just making this stuff into little bitty bite-sized pieces. And I'll tell you what, this PKS Kephart will just go through this stuff like a laser. Just love this knife for food prep, as you've heard me say many times. So we're going to throw this in here with our sausage. Just put that in there with our sausage like that. All right, so we're ready to start cooking here. Just like that, the stove is fired up. I'm going to drop that temperature down a little bit. Add our skillet onto the stove, and just like that, we are officially cooking. So once again, you can see we just have our chicken breast and our sausage in here. We're going to brown this stuff up. We're going to add a bunch of Cajun seasoning in with it. Once all that's cooked together real good, we'll add this into our bush pot. And we're going to add a bunch of other ingredients to bring the recipe together. It's going to be delicious. All right, so I just heard a little bit of, oh, we got some action. Got our stainless steel tongs here. Man, that stuff smells so good. Tell you what, I'm gonna switch over here, use our spatula. You see, I'm scraping some of that stuff right off the bottom of that skillet with that spatula. It's not a problem with this case hardened skillet. I would not do that with one of my pre-seasoned carbon steel or cast iron pans. But this one's made for it. Tell you what, since we're starting to render down a little bit of fat, let's go ahead and add this Louisiana Cajun seasoning. And we're gonna put a good bit of that stuff in there. Give it a lot of flavor. You can tell we got some wind going here. Man, that smells so good. All right, cooking quick. All right, so let's take a look at our progress here. Oh man, look at that. That stuff looks so good. I could stop right now and eat it just like it is. All that little bit of burn on the bottom of the pan coming right up, all that flavor. And that's gonna go into our bush pot to simmer down. Oh man. Yeah, that chicken is ready. Cooked all the way through. Man, just look at that stuff. Woohoo! All that sizzling. Stuff smells so good. I add just a little more seasoning to it. It's hard to get too much seasoning, right? Just to kind of help that seasoning come up off the bottom, add in a little bit of water like that. Get all that seasoning off the bottom of the pan. That'll go into our pot. All right, so we finished cooking up our chicken and our sausage, and what I'm gonna do is add that into our 128 ounce bush pot, and I'm gonna make sure to get all that juice and seasoning and all that stuff down in the pot. We're gonna cover that with chicken stock. We're gonna also be adding in some other ingredients like cream cheese and heavy cream. And we're gonna add in some pasta, some bowtie noodles. And that way we're gonna have our fats, our proteins, and our carbohydrates all together in one meal. Perfect. We'll just set that aside. We'll fire the stove back up again. And what I'm gonna do is just take some chicken stock here, and I'm gonna put enough of that in here to cover up our meat. We're just adding enough of that chicken stock in here to cover up our meat and enough to hydrate our pasta. All right, and we'll go ahead and put our lid back on. We'll let that start to simmer, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so I'm hearing a little simmering. Let's take a look. Perfect, perfect. All right, so at this point, we're gonna add just one block of cream cheese, and I've had this kind of sitting out on my cooler top so it can start softening up, make it easy to transfer into the pot. So I've got the pack open all the way up like that, make it easy to get down in the pot. Hopefully not splash it too bad. Got a little extra there. Don't want to waste any. All right, so what we're gonna do now is let that melt down into our mixture. Try to mix that in real good. Let that start simmering again. All right, so I've mixed that stuff down in there pretty good. I'm gonna just put the lid back on, let it simmer for a few minutes, melt that cream cheese real good, and we'll come back with our next ingredient. So our next ingredient is heavy whipping cream. Now, if I remember correctly, this recipe is the way I like them. It doesn't really have a particular amount, so you can kind of eyeball it or go by your own feel. So I'm going to add that in. We did have a boil going. That kind of cut that off a little bit. But I'm going to bring that back to a boil, and then we're going to add in some bowtie noodles, and it's going to be time to eat. So we'll let that start to boil, and we're going to be eating soon. All right, so I hear our pot boiling. There we go. That was quick. And what we're going to do now, I'm just going to mix that stuff in good, and we're going to add in our bowtie noodles. and just have some plain bow tie noodles here. And again, I don't have a measurement on this, so I'm just gonna eyeball it. And it's better to have a little less than too much with that. You can always add water or chicken stock or whatever, but you don't want it to be too dry. So I'm gonna let those start to swell up a little bit, and we'll see where we stand with it. We can always add some more if we need it. So the last ingredient always gets me excited because I know it's almost time to eat. Can't wait. So while our food's finishing up, I thought I'd go ahead and get this skillet cleaned up a little bit. And you guys saw how much I burned that seasoning and stuff into this pan. And I just poured a little bit of water in here, hadn't even heated it up. And just taking a little scrub pad that I keep in the bottom of my bush pot bag here. And you can see I'm just barely putting anything into that. And that stuff just comes off so clean and perfect from that skillet. You just take that stuff, dump it out. There's hardly anything sticking to that, and anything that does, it just wipes right out. Now obviously I'll wash this in the sink when I get home, just rinse it out, but it is not necessary. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit more water just to rinse that. Slosh that stuff around. And then a little piece of chicken there. I'm gonna just take that bandana, and I want you to see that thing is just basically like new. That's what I would call camp clean. And we can cook in that again right now. It is ready to go. Now obviously again, like I said, I'll wash it when I get home, put some soap in it and wash it out. But you can see how easy that stuff wipes out. Just a little bit of water. I didn't even have to heat it up, and that skillet comes clean. And that's the benefit of that case hardening process that's done on these Pathfinder skillets. All right guys, this has been simmering for probably 8 to 10 minutes here. And oh yeah, that stuff looks absolutely perfect. That pasta is cooked well. Got just a little bit of sauce down in there. I think I just kind of eyeballed that about perfect. You can see that chicken down in there and that sausage. Oh man, this stuff is going to be so good. I think I could turn that off right now and just let it start to cool off. Once it cools off a little bit, it will be ready to serve, and I am ready for it to be served. All right, you guys know what it's time for, that official meal reveal. Oh man, look at all that smoky Polish kielbasa in there with those creamy bow tie noodles, cooked down with the brown chicken and that delicious Cajun seasoning with all that cream cheese and heavy whipped cream, making this a rich, hearty, rib-sticking meal, and one that I cannot wait to enjoy. Yes, sir. All right, so all the cooking's done. I've got everything squared away. My plate is served. There's just one other thing that needs to be done. Of course, anytime I'm gonna enjoy a delicious meal out here in the great outdoors, I'm gonna take just a moment to give thanks. All right, time for that official taste test. Bottom of the plate, still hot. All right, I'm gonna go for chicken first. Yeah. A couple of these noodles. They soaked up a lot of flavor. Sausage. You know, when you cook that chicken and sausage together and brown it in the skillet like that, which was an extra step that wasn't in the recipe, but kind of puts a crust on the sausage. think it might help to seal in some of the juices into the sausage. Makes it really good. If I had to give you guys an idea of what this tastes like, think Cajun Alfredo. And that's really what it's like. It's like Alfredo sauce, but with a Cajun kick to it, and it's outstanding. So, of course, I gotta bring you guys in here, give you a nice little taste test. Got a piece of chicken there, piece of sausage, bow tie noodle. Give y'all a big old bite. Good, good, good stuff. This is a good recipe. So anytime you have a recipe that has cream cheese and heavy whipping cream in it, you know that's going to be a very rich recipe. And when you add in that smoky flavor and the spice and all that, it just makes for a really, really satisfying meal. You can tell these gnats are terrible out here. Just one of the many reasons I'm not a big fan of summer. However, anytime I can get out here in the beautiful great outdoors, especially on the water's edge, enjoy a good meal, I'll take it. I used the 10-inch skillet today to brown my meat and then add it to the bush pot. You could definitely do this in one pot. I could have done the whole meal in just a bush pot. That would have been the most efficient way of doing it, but I wanted to use that 10-inch skillet today, and I like browning the meat before I put it into the stew pot. That's something that I do often, especially when I'm at home, and so I think it's a solid way of preparing this recipe. But Corey, I want to thank you once again. This is a fantastic recipe. I've really enjoyed this meal. I've almost cleaned my plate trying to talk, and I've also given my daughter a bowl of it over here, and she gives me the thumb up. She says that this is definitely approved by her. So just a great meal, and one that I think many people would enjoy, especially if you like Alfredo. This is Alfredo with a kick, so I'm a big fan, as you can see by my clean plate. So I'm not going to keep torching you guys, sitting here eating this delicious pastalaya in front of you, but I do want to thank you for taking the time to tune in for this video. And I want to remind you, if you have a recipe that you enjoy cooking in the great outdoors, don't forget to submit a copy of that recipe to me at the email address at the bottom of your screen, and that'll get your name and your recipe entered into the data bank of recipes that I pull from each time I come out to make a new episode of Pathfinder Outdoor Kitchen. Remember, that's a win-win. It's a chance for you to win free Pathfinder outdoor cooking gear, and it's a chance for me to try your favorite recipe out here in the great outdoors. So, on behalf of Self-Reliance Outfitters, we appreciate your time, interest, and support. And I look forward to seeing you again on the next video, which will be coming at you soon. And until that one, you guys take care, be safe, and have a good day. Definitely coming back for seconds on this stuff.
Daddy, can I have a refill too?
Yeah, is it good?
It's absolutely delicious.
That's good. I'm glad to hear.
Thank you.